shutting down the ratchet in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, brothers and sisters, my Blak family? Welcome to episode 2, part 2 of Blak Thoughtz. And we are bringing you mental health in the Black community on depression, and today's topic is
anxiety.
This is your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your best friend. I am Blackman.
And I'm Ashay, the EP.
And we are here to bring you melanin,
motivation,
pop culture,
and current events. And
we are welcoming you to the crib. We are live from the crib, our humble abode. And we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna break down anxiety for you guys to let you know that you are not alone. So.
At all. So we can start with we're gonna shout a couple of people out and a couple of businesses. I have a friend who is a rapper. His name is @Laal Music, LAAL Music. So go follow him. He's dropping a music video August 7th. So make sure you look out for that.
Yes, Blak family, we support Black business right here every day, every week, every Friday night. And just like you got a homeboy that's in this music game, I got a homeboy that's in this music game too. You guys go check out my brother Young Screech. That is YUNG_SCREECH. Got that right. Don't need a diploma for that. My brother's album Freedom of Screech is dropping next week, August 7th. And we're going to share these links for you guys so you can follow up afterwards. Music is popping right now, and if you're part of the Blak family, you are lit.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're going to shout out a couple members of the Blak family. We have 2 sisters today taking exams right now. Mm-hmm. So I need everybody to put your hands together. Do whatever you do. Pray. Rub them bad boys together. Send all these good vibes. Spirit bomb. So all the Blak family out there, good luck, ladies, on your test.
Yes, good luck. And we have a brother, Ben, who wrote an article about wrestling and philosophy in wrestling. So
that will be published in The Agonist.
Yep. So look out for that too.
And we have a little congratulations to go out. Our sister, I did not ask for permission to share this, but one of our good sisters got accepted to school this week, so pound it.
Yay.
Since we're celebrating for you, we're going to take shots for you after this.
Yes, we will.
What? Tune in after. Tune into my OnlyFans to find out what we're drinking tonight. Wow. Traitor. There you go. And as always, we want to thank you guys for showing up, popping in. It's Friday night. We got to spend it with the Blak family.
Yeah.
There we go.
Make sure you guys share this live so other people can join in and get some more information on anxiety.
Yeah,
and just, follow us and spread the love. Let them join the family.
So everyone, Scribe Ben is our brother Ben, who is a college professor who wrote that article. So if you want to get some knowledge, you can always stop by the crib with the Blak family. But hey, you can always see my brother right there. My brother Muhammad is in the house. I appreciate you, brother. Our sister Jess, our big sister Steph, who's been with us since literally day one. We appreciate you, sis. Our sister Baron EXO is somewhere out there. She should be taking her exam. Shout outs to you, sis. We will get back with you soon.
Yep.
So today we're going to jump into today's topic, which is that little creepy feeling that's crawling up your neck, that makes you go numb, that makes you a little stiff, that may be a little debilitating, called anxiety. And my sweetheart, my babe, my little piece of caramel, so chocolate ass right here. She's going to give you the definition of that right there. Say that good thing, girl.
Okay, so anxiety is like the mind and the body's reaction to stressful and dangerous or unfamiliar situations, and it can cause a sense of uneasiness, distress, or even dread. And it includes disorders that share features of expressive fear and related behavioral disturbances. And in 2010, a report by the National Center for Biotechnology information showed that African Americans were diagnosed more than whites.
more than our Caucasian counterparts.
Yeah.
So this is why this is so important to us, guys. As you know, mental health in our community. If your mind is right, your body is right, and we need to make sure that our people are in order. So we need to make sure that you guys know the symptoms and the signs. So if anything is wrong, you would notice what's wrong first. And those symptoms include behavioral symptoms like hypervigilance, irritability, and restlessness. Cognitive issues like
lack of concentration, racing thoughts, or even unwanted thoughts.
Symptoms of the body such as fatigue, or sweating, or palpitating heart.
Yeah, or other symptoms include worrying, fear, or even like feeling of impending doom, or even insomnia or nausea.
Yeah. And we thought it was important to bring this issue up to you, just like last week when we spoke about depression. So if you missed it last week, you haven't seen our IGTV, make sure that you catch episode 2, part 1 on mental health in the Black community, depression and anxiety. We wanted to bring this up because like depression, anxiety is very common but can often go downplayed or ignored. Feelings of tension and worry are normal, but when these feelings become debilitating and are consistent and result in things like high blood pressure and insomnia, it's time to take a little bit of self-reflection.
Yeah. So, in fact, Dr. Angela Neal Barnett, the author of Soothe Your Nerves, The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding and Overcoming Anxiety, Panic, and Fear, stated that the longest time African Americans have not had a name for this is what?
A name for what they experience.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Teamwork.
Teamwork
makes a dream work.
Yeah.
There we go. And yeah, for the longest time, but we all think like it's very normal to like worry about things and to have like to be sad so much, to worry so much. We think like these things like, hey, they may be normal. Like everyone's going through it. You may think you're being unreasonable. These causes may be deep rooted within you or deep rooted within your family history and your DNA. And we're trying to help you guys get to the bottom of this. As always, as we said last week, do not be afraid to go to therapy. If you have a problem that needs to be fixed, the same way you go to a doctor, please, if you have the resources, take your ass to therapy.
Or even if you don't want to come to therapy, you can always reach out to us or reach out to a friend. And we also have resources on our page. And, we'll post them again if we need to. And we'll also say more at the end for resources again.
And as my brother Don Ion, my brother Muhammad said, that Black people do in fact like to normalize things. We like to play off our own pain. We like to keep it moving. People.
I do that a lot because I guess you can say like I do have anxiety because I worry about everything. It's kind of bad. Like I worry about everything. Like my heart races a lot. It's like I can't concentrate sometimes because like I'm always worrying about something or always think that something is bad is gonna happen, or I just it's bad. And I can't even describe it fully. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I can remember like being like a kid in like high school. For most people that know me, I grew up a very, very fat kid. Very, very, very fat kid. I probably will break this couch right now. But I remember like being very small.
It's okay.
You still the cute girl in high school. But I remember like being like small, like in middle school and elementary, like I would breathe very heavily because I was carrying around a lot of weight. And by the time I had got to high school, I was always like a very kind of popular kid, but I was very like self-conscious because of like what I had been through. And I just remember like I sat next to this girl who was very nice, one of the most popular girls like in the school, and just because like knowing that she was there, she was pretty, not prettier than my girl right here. She was pretty, really nice. Even like sitting next to her was just difficult. Like I couldn't breathe for the entire time. And it was just like, this was like a class that I took 3 times a week, 45 minutes probably at the least. And I struggled through breathing the entire time and never could understand why. And it's probably just because I was just worried about being called out for breathing, as unreasonable as that sounds. But I had been through so much, which is like PTSD, which we will get into later. But it took me the longest time to realize that what I was dealing with was actually just anxiety.
Yeah. One of the questions are, how much weight did you lose, if you don't mind asking?
You can read it out loud.
Okay. One of the questions are, how much weight did you lose from the Rolling Pin podcast?
Shout out to my brothers, the Rolling Pin podcast. At my heaviest by high school, I was about 292 pounds to be exact. And when I got there, I took my ass to therapy and started seeing like a dietitian, and I started walking more to and from my appointments to Woodhull Hospital, which I would not go to today. But y'all know why. You from Brooklyn? You know why. But yeah, so even just walking, getting that little bit of exercise, a little bit of meditation, I got down to 252 and I've been working out ever since. And right now, today I'm 185. So that is 107 pounds.
I ain't got a diploma.
I ain't got a diploma. She ain't got a calculator. I ain't got a diploma. But we here, baby. There we go. So
you want to get into the types?
Yeah.
So there's different types of anxiety, like anything. So one type would be separation anxiety. So that can be an episode of excessive distress when you anticipate being separated from a person or place. Like if your friends or family gets killed, or if you have someone going to prison. You know, according to the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics, in 2018, Black males accounted for 34% of the total male prison population.
Yeah, so that we're just giving you an example of like separation anxiety in the Black community, because like I said, we also due to that statistic, we lose our fathers, our fathers, our brothers, our uncles, our mothers who are the head of household, have to work all day to support their family. We lose a lot of people to the streets due to crime in our community and animosity in our community. So we lose a lot of people that we love, to the point where, hey, I'll even say it, where it's like Black women are under attack. And even when my lovely co-host, my little EP, is not by my side, I do worry about her. And I just want her to make it home. And I'm sure like whenever I go out for a run or whenever I go to work, she also feels the same way about me. And it's just that I just want my people to make it back to me. And I would like to rehash a little tidbit from last week that we brought up. It's supposed to be here. That my handy dandy piece of paper.
It's not his diploma.
That a growing body of research suggests that traumatic experiences can cause profound biological changes in the person experiencing the traumatic event. Cutting-edge researchers also are beginning to understand how these psychological changes are genetically encoded and passed down to future generations. And right there, I would like to talk about slavery. And now, to quote my good brother Kenya Barris, because I know slavery is going to come up a lot on our show, but to quote the good brother Kenya Barris, slavery is my North Star. I will always find my way back to slavery. Slavery is so deep rooted to this day in our DNA that we are still suffering from the residual effects of it.
Yeah. And I feel like people don't understand that. Like, as humans, I think that because we're spiritually connected, especially with our ancestors and what they've been through, we carry that as well, whether we realize it or not. You know, even if like you think like the smallest thing might irritate you, or like even if like have your parents like ever told you, oh, you remind me of your great grandmother or something like that, but you have never met them? Like, that's your family carrying on to you, and I feel like they also carry that trauma and that love to you as well. Because I have a cousin that reminds me of my grandfather who passed before he was born, and he still gives those same little facial expressions that he obviously would never know that our grandfather gave. So I feel like you really carry that with you through generations.
Yes, sir. And I would like to give you one this is going to be a little harsh. I'd like to give you one little example of separation anxiety being encoded in Black DNA. Imagine this was 400 years ago. You are a slave. You are beaten all day. You are forced to work all day in the hot sun for your captors. Imagine through all this pain, through all this turmoil, you managed to fall in love with another slave. Imagine through all of this, you two come together, you jump the broom, which is marriage back in the day. You build a family. You have a wife. You have 2 children. You love these people. Imagine one day you get sold. You never see these people again. And now your wife is there by herself and all she has is her children. Her son grows up to be big and strong, just like his father. He gets sold. You never see your family again. You never see your family again. Your mother never sees her son again. Her daughter is beautiful like her. The master's son decides to take her for a wife, sweeps her off to another plantation. Whole family broke up, never to be seen again due to what? Slavery. Yep. So I apologize if that got a little heavy. But as I said, slavery is my North Star. And the effects of that are still heavily encoded in our DNA. And even though people like to think this was a long time ago, wasn't that long ago, bro. Yeah. So now we're going to move on to what I... But it's okay. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to swing it right back. Go ahead, baby.
So I, when I was in high school, my parents got divorced and my mother left. So I pretty much went through separation anxiety because I made it kind of like a point not to get close to anybody, not to be friends with anybody else, not to get in a relationship with anyone, because I was scared that they would end up leaving me too. And years later, like when people in my family started passing, that kind of made it worse. Like, okay, well, my mother left, now people are dying, now, people leave, and so I like made it kind of a thing where I don't want to get close to people because I don't want them to leave.
Yeah, it's just our families tend to be broken a lot of times. A lot of us are, let's just throw it out there, a lot of us end up being bastard children because we are born out of wedlock. So in a way, like a lot of our families were never whole to begin with, due to the current structure and like our family climate in this community. But before we get too heavy on that, we're going to move on because we're trying to drop as much knowledge as possible. We are going to move on to, which I think is the most common, we are moving on to social anxiety. My lovely co-host, my little EP, would give us the definition of that.
Okay, so social anxiety is fear or uneasiness in social situations. So, being unfamiliar with people or speaking or performing publicly or even being watched. So people who suffer this can be defensive and often subconsciously display selective mutism, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on, I believe, I don't have a statistic for this. This is just my belief. I believe a lot of African Americans suffer from social anxiety because
because I feel like it's one of the reasons because we're taught to hate ourselves. So if we're taught to hate ourselves, we already, one, don't love who we are. So we're not going to be proud and be, stand up straight, just have that conscious, that self-confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's we're taught to hate each other. We are also taught to mistrust each other, where we come from a community where hey, if you're in a large crowd, you may become defensive, standoffish, and irritable. And for right now, I'm calling my other black men to task on this. Recognize the social anxiety in yourself, because we come from a community of men where, hey, if you make eye contact with the wrong dude, that may be the end of your life.
Yeah. And
it's just because you feel a lot of us feel that hey, the ops is out, or they plotting on me. And if I don't get him, if I don't get him first, he's going to get me first. And a lot of us, we don't realize what we're dealing with is social anxiety. We're just not comfortable being around other people, especially even if they're other people that look exactly like us, because, hey, for the last 400 years, they've pitted us against each other. And that's the way that they've been keeping us down.
I saw a good example of that. I was watching 60 Days In. So for those of you who don't know that show, it's basically they get people from outside and they ask them to go into a jail and see what needs to be fixed, what are the loopholes, things like that, to make it better. And there's a camera crew there, and they obviously make up a lie to say why there's a camera crew there, so the people who aren't really imprisoned, they won't get attacked and possibly die. And there was a situation where one of the inmates thought that one of the guys who actually wasn't an inmate was an undercover correction officer. And it's, they're like, yo, he's an op. And I feel like that's one of the forms where you're, what's the word? Not panicky, but,
irritable?
No, not irritable, but you're paranoid.
There we
go. I feel like environments like that creates paranoia in people. And kind of like that out here, too. Because I get paranoid when I go out on the street. Because I feel like because so many situations where people followed me, tried to talk to me. And I mean followed me blocks. Or watched me, walk where I was walking. I get really paranoid. So, I mean, rightfully so, but that's one of, that's another example.
Our brother Ben has chimed in. He said that's super interesting, connecting aggressive behavior to social anxiety. I wonder if any research has been done on that. We've done extensive research for the past.
No, he means
Stop it. We've done our extensive research for the past couple of days. There are articles out there. That's why I said it. I wouldn't have. Irritability is a symptom of anxiety. So, and I just feel like it's heightened in our community because a lot of us have such a short fuse. And a lot of us, we just tend to a lot of us are, if you're gang affiliated, which I'm not, I hope you're not. A lot of us are TCG. We are trained to go. A lot of us are ready to fight at the drop of a dime. And I'm not like that.
I'm not like that.
I know. But yeah, I think that's some irritability runs rampant in our community, and I believe it's connected to social anxiety. But there is extensive research, and there are articles out there that you can look up. I will try to find some links. I'll put them on the page, and I'll send them directly to you then.
You go to second music.
And also, so in my last statement, I called my black brothers to task, right now, even though, hey, I make it my point to stay out of women's business, but hey, I have to call my black women to task, my sisters. Something that I came across in our research is selective mutism, where in a social situation where you feel uneasy, a lot of people tend to subconsciously stop talking. And I do notice that, like, hey, there's a lot of women. Now, like, I'll give an example of, like, they're hanging out with their friends and there's another woman brought along that they don't know and they may not trust this person. They like to call themselves the bougie friend or the stink friend, where they just won't talk to that person. And it's not you being stink. Well, at least I don't believe it's you being stink, or it's like you having an attitude. You may just be trying to protect yourself. And subconsciously just trying to protect yourself. Subconsciously, you may just be dealing with selective mutism, where you don't feel like socializing with people outside of your normal clique. And we also wanted to touch. So I call my women to task, and now we have to defend them, because we'd like to touch on anxiety amongst our sisters in social settings where they are affected most. The workplace and school. And I'm going to let my little queen, my little EP, take that one over.
Yeah, so being, a black woman in the workplace or in school, typically you're either the only one or you would be kind of like the first one there. And that will kind of give you anxiety there, because you don't want to say the wrong thing. People don't know how you are as, being a black woman, so you may say something that's like, oh, they don't get that, or maybe I shouldn't have said that here in this room with these people. So it makes you either code switch, so act like you're white just to kind of protect yourself, or just not say anything at all. And I kind of got that from one of the jobs that I had. I didn't really want to be myself there, so I didn't really say much, and they felt like I was rude, I was mean. But in reality, I'm not really like that. So, I've experienced that too sometimes.
Yeah, I have many sisters who work the quote unquote white collar jobs in professional settings, and for the most times they may be like, if they're not the only one, there may be one of two or one of three black women in the office, and they do have to tread lightly. Yeah. Where it's like, there's a narrative against our black women that they are angry, they have attitudes, they're defensive, and literally from what I know about my sisters, they mind their business, they drink their water, and they try to go about their day. And as a black man, we do experience this too. I'll go ahead and say it. It's mostly around police officers.
Oh yeah.
Authority. I would think, like, at least at some point in your life, we've had a manager or a boss that is Caucasian or Indian, Hispanic, of another race. And there is also the angry black man narrative, which I have faced because I'm dark skinned and I look a certain way, and I have a beard which is trimmed now but is a lot more wild than this, and I've been told that I look like a walking mugshot before, which sounds crazy. I have been told that by a Caucasian man that if I was walking down the street and saw you, I would cross. And I was like,
you people got nerve.
And I was like, thank you. Because I wouldn't want to talk to you anyway. But yeah, so I do have to watch my language, because also, like, whatever, like, I almost say whatever we say could just be from the narrative that the world's put out. We are always on the attack, when most of the time we're just all trying to get by. So people tend to be defensive around us about nothing. And most of them, they maybe, like just like the Karen pandemic that we're facing, a lot of people are just trying to get a rise out of us, and hey, we can't give them that. We can't give them that rise. And me, I've calmed down a lot from my younger days because, like, hey, I used to be the kind of person, like, if you wanted to get a rise out of me, I'll bring the tithes like the Bible. But we can't be like that, especially in this kind of climate. So socially, I think that's a good enough case to say Black people are suffering very much from social anxiety.
Yeah, I feel like I was gonna say something. Oh, they always see the reaction. They never see the cause. So if someone says something crazy to you and your reaction is like, yo, like you go wild on them, it's like, yo, you don't have to do that. But they didn't see what made you do that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that always gets people because I feel like they would have probably done the same thing if someone said the same thing to them.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to talk to me crazy and then not expect me to wild out.
Yeah. So we'd like to take this time to move on to panic disorder. And my lovely EP, my queen, my goddess, my empress, my little piece of chocolate, everything.
So, panic disorders can be a repeated episode of sudden feelings of intense fear or terror, which is known as panic attacks. And you can feel a sense of impending doom, shortness of breath, chest pain, rapid increase of your heart rate, or detachment from reality or even your own body. Yeah. I feel like I have those sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Because I stress about a lot of stuff. I think I had one of those, last week? Because I was at work.
Possibly.
And, like, I texted him, I'm like, yo, I can't breathe. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. Like, I'm not even thinking about anything. And I'm just like, yo, I just can't breathe. And I just, like, went to the bathroom and, like, tried to calm down.
Yeah. Well, so one of the symptoms of, like, panic disorders, which causes panic attacks, a sense of, they can be brought on by a sense of impending doom. And I do feel like as Black people, like we may always like face that. I do know, like, I don't know, like, I just want to say, I don't know if any other Black man feels the way that I do. When it comes to the law, I tread very lightly because, like, from watching my friends and the OGs in my community and just watching the news and just seeing how messed up the justice system is, a sense of like impending doom for me is just like I am like almost deathly afraid of like breaking any law because I just feel like they're just dying for any reason to like lock us down and just put us to work in the prison system.
Yeah.
And I've often felt like I've wondered if I'm the only one that like feels this way. Like even like doing my taxes, what someone else does, because I'm afraid to do it myself and make a mistake. I just feel like, hey, for any reason, like, hey, I slip up, I'm gone and I'm out of here. And so something like I don't really feel that comfortable around police officers. And even like if I have to interact with one, I do like, hey, I watch what I say because I just don't want to give him a reason. And it's like I've done nothing. I've given him no reason. Even the bass in my voice may just like, hey, I may end up in cuffs.
Yeah.
And I've been in cuffs twice for absolutely nothing. So
no,
yeah.
For being Black.
There we go.
I passed a cop today when I was at the train, and she stared at me because I had missed my exit, so I turned back around. And normally when people like look at me, I give them a look like, you looking at for it? But I was like, Lon, let me not. I gotta get to work. But I was just like, yo, I'm lost, bro. I just missed my exit. Like, nothing serious. Like, I really get tense, like, being around cops. Like, when I would drive and there was a cop pull up behind me, yo, it was it. Like, I would be like, all right, do I have my lights on? Nothing's broken. I have my license. I have my registration. Like, everything's good. Like, I would legit be in a panic. Like, yo, I hope they don't pull me over, and I hope nothing happens. Like, and I hope I have everything. And then I would forget, like, they can pull me over because I'm Black. Like, it could be for nothing.
Yeah. So we are now going to take a moment to hop into probably the biggest one here, which is PTSD. And once again, for not the last time, but my little EP, my little Empress, can you just give us the definition of that?
So PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental health condition that is triggered by a terrifying event. You either you experienced it or you witnessed it.
And so in general, Black people are dealing with a lot of trauma, and it ends up becoming the baggage that we carry in everyday life. Imagine even right now in today's climate where literally there were people there live on the scene when George Floyd was murdered. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, who did try to defend her and defend his home, was there when his girlfriend was killed. All of these families who are just losing people left and right. Each of us, like, growing up, we've all had at least one friend who was taken away by violence on the street. Either we were there, we heard about it, we lose people left and right. We see neglect in our homes, we see abuse in our homes. We all deal with trauma coming from a very young age, and I believe we're all suffering from some form of PTSD.
Yeah. Some could be more serious than others, but I still feel like no matter what it is, it's still relevant to how you develop and how you grow and how you become the person that you are. Because I feel like your childhood shapes how you are as an adult.
Yeah, and then even I'm not gonna beat a dead horse because it is very, very important to bring up here. As I stated earlier, there is research that shows that traumatic events can biologically change you. I got through that by the grace of God. Traumatic events can biologically change your DNA, and you can pass that down. And I'm going to go right back to my North Star, slavery. Do you know how many traumatic events our ancestors went through during slavery?
A lot.
Most of them watched their friends and family died on the ship on the way over.
Yep.
There are many researchers that believe and have some shown evidence that we lost more slaves on the ride over that actually got here and actually were put to work. So being starved and beaten on those ships, to be brought out into the hot sun, to again watch your wife be raped in front of you, to watch your husband be beaten in front of you. Black people have been dealing with trauma for 400 years. And we all know, like, there are certain genes and traits, they do skip generations. I could be dealing with the trauma that my ancestors faced 200 years ago and wouldn't know it. It's just that I was going to say Black people were dealt a bad hand. Like, they threw the deck at us, basically. So, like,
right here.
Yeah. So we have besides the Jewish community and the Holocaust, I don't believe there's any ethnicity or race with a longer history of traumatic events.
No. I mean, the Asians had internment camps, but not, as.
Yeah, and as my brother, the Rolling Pin podcast pointed out to us, I got through that through the grace of God. Again, childhood trauma is real. We all go through so much as children. Watching our parents argue over us. A lot of us were beaten as children. And just real quick, because I want to point this out, because this is going to be another episode later on. As a parent, if your child acts out, talks back, and the first thing on your mind is, I should beat this kid, that's not funny, but hey, something is wrong with you.
It's the way he said it.
And you need to bring yourself to the altar, self-reflect, take your ass to therapy if you can, talk to someone. You need to sort that out. This will be another episode later on, but since it got brought up and I feel so deeply about it, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's time for us to stop beating our kids.
Yeah.
I believe that, I believe the discipline through fear in our community was passed down to us generation to generation because this is what we were taught. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of slaves that were handed the whip, that were given power over the other slaves to beat them when they got out of line. And I believe that little power trip and that short fuse was just passed down to us, and was time to, if you could rip into your skin and pull that little piece of DNA out, it's time to do that in our community. So I don't want to focus too much on that, but I just had to get that out there. So, hey, my brother Muhammad Don Ion has chimed in and said, psychiatrists say beatings from my parents is a byproduct of slavery. I knew I wasn't bugging. My brother King, thank you so much. And again, we will cite all of our resources. We will attach links this weekend when we can, because I'm pretty sure. Hey, tell your friends and family to watch the replay of this episode. Again, this is Blak Thoughtz, episode 2, part 2 of mental health in the Black community on depression, and today's topic:
anxiety,
teamwork. There we go. And now we're gonna jump into kind of the most important part of this conversation. Is we need to tell you guys how to cope.
Yeah.
Because at some point in your life, even if it's just one time in life, we are all going through a period of anxiety. And we broke down the different types for you guys. We've told you guys the symptoms to help you identify it. And first things first, if you feel that you need to go to a therapist, a counselor, or a psychiatrist,
go
do that. If you have the resources, please take advantage of your resources and do that. But as we discussed last week when we talked about the depression, there is a mistrust with medicine in this country.
That's why I try to go to Black doctors.
Yes, due to...
If I go to the doctor. Let's be honest.
Due to medical malpractice and medical abuse of African Americans. So, and then another big issue in this country is pharmaceuticals. A lot of drugs are pushed down our throats. So like I'll say again, if you have the resources to see a therapist or a psychiatrist or a counselor, please, please, please do that. But before you go there and let those people shove drugs down your throat, try meditation.
Yeah. You can also limit alcohol and caffeine, because caffeine is not good for anxiety. I will tell you this firsthand, because when I have iced coffee and then I end up having anxiety attacks, it's over. I can't breathe. It's the worst. My heart is racing 10 times more. I want to die. It's really bad. So if you drink coffee and you feel like you have anxiety, limit your intake.
Yes, because caffeine does heighten the symptoms of anxiety. You may become irritable. You will definitely become restless. If you are already dealing with insomnia and you consume caffeine later in the day, you're definitely not sleeping that night. So caffeine is definitely a big thing to avoid if you do deal with anxiety. Also, alcohol, because alcohol is a depressant. Mm-hmm. It numbs your nerves, physical and mental. I'm pretty sure I messed that up. Through the grace of God, I'm gonna power through this though. But yeah, so alcohol is a depressant that should be avoided. It will only make your symptoms worse. It'll only make you sadder. Your worry will only increase. Your fear will only increase. So alcohol and caffeine, if you deal with depression and anxiety, these are things that you should consume less.
or not at all.
Yeah.
You can also take time out, so relax, have a day to yourself. Like Blackman said, meditate. Just even breathe. I feel like sometimes we forget to breathe.
If you need to, don't ever feel ashamed to like step away for a second. Right. If you are feeling overwhelmed in any situation and you feel that like you need to take a step back, catch yourself, step to the side, step out of the room, isolate yourself, count down slowly from 10, take as much time as you need to collect yourself, and get some self-reflection there.
Yeah. There you go. Also rest more, sleep more, because if I feel like the lack of sleep, you'll get more irritable. You'll also probably get restless, and then that will make you want to consume caffeine. So rest is very important.
Yeah. Also, exercise. Exercise is also a good form of meditation. And if you're feeling restless, if you have insomnia, it's a good way to tire yourself out. And exercise is always good for the body as well.
Yeah. And with exercise, eating healthy.
Yes. Also, the things we consume are a big part of our everyday lives. As the saying goes, you are what you eat.
Yep.
Yeah. So, also, what's next?
Also, just learn your triggers. So if it's work, school, whatever you feel like will end up getting you overwhelmed, probably take a step back from that. And then, regroup. And then maybe if you get put in that situation again, you'll know how to deal with it better because you've analyzed it and now you know what would work and what wouldn't work.
Yes, knowing your triggers is knowing yourself. And a little tip, go to a 99-cent store, Target, Walmart, what may have you, pick up a journal. And every time you are feeling anxious, every time you are feeling worried, you write down that time, you write down that date, and you write down what's happening at that moment. Write down what you were thinking about. Most importantly, I would say write down who is around you, because your environment does affect your outlook on life, and it does affect you deeply. You may need to take inventory of the people who are around you.
Yep.
And consider, why do you feel uneasy when they are around? If work is giving you problems, you need to sit down and have a conversation with yourself. Is it worth being here if this place is going to stress me out? If school is giving you issues, maybe you need to drop a class. Maybe the system at this university is failing itself and failing you, and you need to change. So do that little bit of self-reflection and make sure that, hey, I always will do the best for myself, because doing the best for me is doing the best for my family. And for me, that's the most important thing for me. It starts with me. I cannot help anyone else if I'm not helping myself.
Yep.
So,
also, if you, like what Blackman was saying about being around people, I feel like you have like that feeling inside that is like, nah, this person isn't right for me. Like, listen to that voice and listen to that feeling, because your body knows, like, more than your mind. Like, your body will know first, and then your mind will catch up. So always listen to that feeling and then act accordingly.
Yeah. So with that being said, we would like to thank you, Blak Family, for stopping by the crib. We've hoped that we've dropped some good knowledge on you guys today. We hope that you guys enjoyed yourself and had a good time. But hey, as always, hey, we love people. Black men love the kids, not like Hollywood does. But we'd like for this Blak Family to grow. So please, guys, if you could just share our page, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their side chick. Hey, when they get into a fight, just write it down on a piece of paper, drop it in the middle of the melee. Sliding in whoever's wig comes off, just slide it in there. They're gonna put it back on. But we want to just want to thank you guys so much for coming out and joining us. And can I preview next week's episode real quick?
I low-key wanted to be a surprise, but now you can.
No. We're going to keep it a surprise. We're going to put our little package together. We're going to let you guys know what we're talking about next week. I'm going to let you know now. I am probably going to curse. It is a very deep issue in our community.
Oh, I might get ratchet real quick, too. Like, I'm nice and calm today because I'm tired from working all day, but I might be pretty hyped next week.
Yes. So next week, make sure you tell a friend. Make sure you bring your black ass over. We are here chilling with the legends under the ancestors. Thank you for stopping by.
Wait, no, I think we should tell them. Nah, y'all gotta wait.
Okay, so we're gonna...
So once we put this package out, y'all gotta share it. Y'all gotta, like, get people on it because I feel like this is a very important topic, especially... Y'all, just stay tuned and make sure y'all share it and get people watching and make sure you guys tune into next week because it's gonna be big.
All right, Blak Family, we're gonna let y'all go. Thank you guys for stopping by the crib. We will see you next week. Peace. And remember, at Blak Thoughtz, we always thinking about you.